I'm Janeane. This is Outside the Box, and today I'm in conversation with Pat Fraley. Hi, Pat. Welcome.
Well, Janeane, I got the pronunciation right.
Yay.
We studied together, and with Scott Brett, I think he was there too.
He was. And
Yeah,
I also
and
took another class with you. It was, I think it was Barbara Harris was a guest teacher as well, because I was really fascinated with animation.
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm pleased to be here. I'm pleased to
Before
help.
we get into your advice on what people can do to work remotely, specifically actors and actresses, uh, tell me a little bit about your backstory, how you ended up where you are.
Well, I'm doing the same thing I did at 4 years old.
Oh,
Just
really?
somewhere along the line, I stopped paying and they started paying me.
Okay.
But I've had a passion for performance and teaching my entire life.
That's
And I was
wonderful.
doing it as a kid, and I went through, and the way a finger popping white square guy got ahead in my day was only theater, because there were no improv troops or instruction. There was no comedy, and I've always had a ability at comedy. So I went all the way through, including getting a Master of Fine Arts from Cornell in
Fantastic.
acting. Emigrated to Australia, learned about voice acting. I don't even know if they had a term, and decided, well, I'm probably better at that than Shakespeare. And so I came back to the States and moved to Los Angeles about 42 years ago, and have been working and teaching ever since.
It's a really interesting industry, voice acting. You either just love it or you're kind of dabbling in it. And I'll tell you a brief little story. I didn't grow up with my dad, but at 16, I moved in with him. And I remember at 18, we got on a plane from New York to Los Angeles. And I didn't know this about him, but he could make really funny voices. And he brought a tape recorder. And I was thinking, who is this guy? He was hysterical. And that planted the seed that you can be serious, you can focus, but you can also have another side to you where you can do all these crazy voices. You
Yeah,
can just
yeah.
go wacko. And I couldn't believe who I was seeing.
Well, somehow the microphone is freeing
It
to
is.
some people and debilitating on camera to others.
Yeah.
Personally, you turn a camera on and I have to work like an old pony to be normal. But put me in a room with a microphone and Katie bar the door. Always been that way.
I love it. It's an interesting thing because when you do block out all the negative talk and you just focus on yourself and the microphone, magic happens.
Well, it's always been a delight for me, and I've never been discouraged to speak of. I mean, of course, we're all discouraged, but never
Right.
really,
Yes.
because I didn't either pay attention to negative comments or didn't get it.
Hmm.
So it was fine with me.
That's good. Probably great that you didn't grow up with all the social media.
Maybe, I don't know.
You
Who
know?
knows? I mean, I actually have some CDs in my home. Now, that's like growing up at my age, having a Victrola.
Sure.
So don't share that with anyone. No one's listening, right?
No, no one's
Okay,
listening.
good. That's good.
So what advice would you give to people, actors and actresses, that they want to find opportunities remotely? Obviously because of coronavirus, they can't go out and do that evening gig to support the auditions, but what kind of things could people be doing in the voiceover world?
Well, it's complex now because of being isolated.
Hmm.
Um, I always used to give advice, look, get good first. Go from good to excellent. Because good, you'll work, certainly like in audiobooks, but you have to go out over and over again. You have to sell good, but excellence sells itself. That's why we know how to pronounce Malkovich and Zellweger,
Yes.
excellence. But it's a little tricky now because we have to be set up at home to audition to work.
Hmm.
So chicken the egg. I used to say, oh, get your skill first, because it's good advice generally. But we got to have that mic. We got to have that digitizer. We have to have a little quiet room.
You bet.
So that's a challenge. But going beyond that, I think that we need to, as voiceover performers, we need to focus on what is working well now. Because we are in America, that's supply and demand. And like David Mamet says, it's not the money, it's the money.
Mm.
That's why they call it money. So we have to figure that out. Now, I think, see, here's something that's been bugging me lately. You know the old, give me the person that said the sky is falling, the sky is falling.
Oh, the character?
Yeah.
Was it like the chicken or something?
Yeah, Chicken Little.
The sky is falling, the sky is falling.
Exactly. Well, the new quote is, the sky has fallen, the sky has fallen. And that's mine. And I'm talking about artificial intelligence voiceover.
Oh.
Now, we were busy with coronavirus and protests and this and that and isolation. And meanwhile, AI, artificial intelligence voiceover, has gotten really good. I mean, I was making fun of their voices, and then I listened and I was shocked.
Really?
Now, well, they can do voices better, faster, and cheaper in some genres. Now, when I say better, I have a caveat, and that is, I'm not a south side of the vineyard guy. I don't know about wine. I don't know about cigars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of like a buyer or a agency that works for a buyer, right?
Yes.
Good enough is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
What we do a lot of times is overkill. For example, in e-learning, some documentaries, even some commercials that don't have a story. We're just announcing, well, forget it. It's gone, baby, gone. You can't fight the money, the time, and and sounds good enough to me, right?
Yeah.
But I'm a glass half full guy. What can't they do? Well, they can't wind a story, meaning they can't change tempos within something. They can't change pitches, do dialects, realize a story by pushing one thing more than another. In short, the genre that's not touched, that's excelling, is audiobooks. Now, a lot of people groan because, being alone that long, you know what? Hey, there's an old Western expression, Janeane, called ride the pony you got. And so you better, put on your big boy underpants and figure out, maybe that's where I need to go to do voiceover.
You bet.
I know that some other genres are eroding. And as
like what? Which genre?
Well, commercials and video games. Now, video games right now must be done by human beings, but I think in a while they'll be able to be done by AI, by artificial intelligence. Because if they take a sample of your voice for 30 seconds a minute, they've got your voice.
You're right.
Or James Earl Jones, or Scott Brick, or George Goodall. If they give their wares, I mean, they remunerate, but they get wares.
Yeah.
So it seems to me, the overall umbrella without genre is that AI can't play subtext.
Which
they can't do it.
We need subtext.
Well, more and more, we need to focus on things that need subtext. And what subtext? Well, I'm going to tell you a story. It's about a boy that was near an oven, and the oven was hot. Well, you see, I'm sad, right? That's what we tell stories. Right now, AI can only do a happy voice and a serious voice. But they can't go, they certainly can't go, it's a sad story. But boy was coming through the door.
So it can't switch gears.
No, they can't switch. It's too much money. It's too difficult.
Interesting.
So we focus on subtext, and I hate to bring that up again, slap me if I do again, because subtext is a very confusing term. It's Stanislavski, the great Stanislavski, and his system, Constantine, he loved it. He was interested. He called it the noise underneath. And it's sort of like that. Oh, sure, you get to text, and it's on the text level. And you just, it's you're thinking and feeling what the text says. But many is the case where you are thinking something different than what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's revealed by characterization. Sometimes it's revealed by dialect and anger. There's different things. Well,
Sure.
any switcheroo stuff, well, we got it.
We sure do.
But we don't want to focus on getting a good voice. Oh, by the way, they can't breathe correctly either. Now, breathing is the subliminal track to how you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Janeane, I told you, I don't want you to look that good. You hear me, right? Because I'm angry. Well, they can't do that. Or, hey, Janeane, yeah, it's a good day in LA. They can't take slow when it calls for. So going back, I really suggest that a voiceover focuses on what they can do that AI can't.
That's great advice when you think about it. Because there's all this technology, but it can't replace a human.
No, and you know what? I don't want to be the guy that is saying, no, opera's better than just popular singing. Well, yeah, just as live performances are better than recorded, but we're used to that.
Yes.
And opera, hey, I love opera, but it costs money.
Sure.
It doesn't make money.
Right.
It's a hobby. I don't want a hobby.
Well, the impact, if they were to do a focus group, the impact of AI versus a human's performance is different, so different.
Yes, because they'll always say, oh, I can tell a difference. It's better. Well, of course it is, but it reminds me of John Henry. The old fable, John Henry, he was a steel driving man.
I don't know who that is.
Well, it's an old fable, American fable about a man, just a man, that is up against a machine that puts down spikes in railroad tracks. Well, there's a bet made, and he beats the machine, but then he dies.
Oh, how uplifting!
Yeah, really. It's not the story. I don't want to. Pat. Yes, I don't want to be John Henry. I know. Is that a diaper?
Yeah, no, it's a sweatshirt. Yeah, I wear diapers.
It's good news. They can't touch us right now, and I don't know when they can. And really, let's boil it down to money.
Right.
Because the bean counters run things.
Right.
And when they go to their buyer, a client, say, like an advertising agency says, well, it'll cost you $2,000 to produce this. Because we got to get a guy, we got to cast it, we got to get a performer in a professional studio, which may have gone the way of the weenie, by the way. We don't know. And then we got to deliver it to you. We got to write. Well, imagine that the advertising agency says, well, we can give it to you for $200, knowing they'll make $100 on it. Why? They transcribe, they have their voice, and they do their e-learning or their documentary. Now, bear in mind, the documentaries they can do are only textual. They're only educational.
Right.
They can't do this. Natalie Wood had an incredibly challenging life. When she was young, you see I'm sad?
Yes.
Because that part of the documentary is sad. I'm owning the documentary. They can't do that.
Right.
But you got to teach people that. You got to teach people, look, you can't just expound information. They got that locked.
Right.
And you know what? They're close enough that they don't care.
Yeah.
If they hear e-learning, they hear a good actor, a voice actor, being personal. And, like I am right now, I'm thinking. Well, that's what they want. They want the sound of thinking and feeling. Okay. They get somebody who's talking like this, and this is like AI, where they're giving information. They can't get that. They can't get that. But you know what? They don't care.
Right.
2,000, right? They make what? 300-400. They make 100 on 200. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because you were talking about audiobooks. What are you doing right now with Scott Brick that people get involved with audiobooks?
Oh, if they go to patfraley.com, everything is there.
Everything.
My contacts have my personal phone number and email. I'm available until I go to heaven. Then I won't be.
Okay.
So
what
Scott and I have taught 6, 7, 8 different home study courses, which are done at home, and homework is sent to me email. I personally listen and guide and teach. So it's all there in audio and in workbook. So patfraley.com, or they can just email me and I'll get on to them.
Oh, good.
I find a little time in my hands, don't
Just a
you?
little bit.
A little bit of time. So yeah, they can email me and contact here again, patfraley.com. They'll get my email.
How can people stay positive right now who are voice actors? I mean, I'm hearing about different agencies that have shut doors. And,
Well,
you know,
yeah, I'll tell you one thing. They got to be careful of how they spend money.
hmm,
We don't know if we have money, we don't know whether to spend or not. If we don't have money, we don't have money. So we need to be wise about what we invest in at what time and how much. The other thing is they can focus on what they can do that no one else can do. You know, we got over the, oh, he has a good voice for books with Woody Allen, right? I mean, there's no such thing as a good voice anymore.
no,
There's different voices.
exactly.
And I think the positive thing is to study those things that we can do that other people can. By the way, character voices, they can't do that. They can't. If they do a character voice, you're stuck with a character voice at one speed.
Are you talking about AI?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on my bug, you know.
it's okay.
But they can't go, bye, Barbara. I hate her.
Exactly.
They can't do the switch up, the change, which is tantamount to characterization. They can't do evocative, unique, developed characters and change them as they go through, because characters alter as they go through scripts. So that's a good thing.
Yes, yes.
So focus on things you can learn: character voices, audiobooks, commercials with stories, because they can't wind a story.
That's
If it's
true.
a commercial that's come on down to Magnolia Hi-Fi, you'll receive, well, forget it.
Right. And for people that don't have an agent right now, I would say don't stress about that. Work on your personal development, you know, basically do your homework, educate yourself, and work on your skills. Wouldn't you say?
Well, you know, I've done this a long time and had maybe not several agents. I've been with one agency, CESD, for 20 years.
It's great.
Agencies sell what's selling.
True.
My agent Pat Brady said, "Well, look at Tara Strong. She's got 12 shows. Why shouldn't she have 13?" It's not like, let's give the new kid a break. Agents will sell what's selling and don't really sell things that aren't selling. It's important that you are in charge of everything. You really are. Even if you have to go to the buyer directly or work outside the box. I have never heard a story, and I'll challenge you, about an audition that was successful, that it wasn't a little weird.
Oh, yes.
They dress up like the character. They send roses to the director. I've heard great stories, but they're always outside the box, cutting edge.
Yes.
Because they don't, I went to school 8 years in a row. They never told me how to get attention. We focused on skills because I was overwhelmed with how little I had. I should have kept thinking, yeah, but they like me anyway, or I do this that they like even without skills. Because, hey, we were hiring John Malkovich when he started working. Why? I just think he's engaging.
Yes, he
like
is.
Like Renee Zellweger.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Engaging. And then you see Judy and you go, wow, what a skill set. Well, that's learned.
It's true. It's true.
So I think not to worry about agents.
I agree.
Right now it's about getting skills and getting excellent. Because we all start good, but good, there's a lot of good people.
A lot of good people. It's true. And it's a great time to get online, do Zoom classes. I think are you doing some Zoom classes right now?
I mainly, I'm a guest.
Okay.
So I don't, when the isolation's off, I teach like in LA, Seattle, my hometown, around the country.
Great.
But when it's not, I do my home study courses with my hundreds of students, and I love it.
That's great.
Because they get to do something at home And oftentimes I'll get, well, don't listen to what I say to you. I did this better. Fine. Because I think it's a waste of money and time to get with a person and do it wrong 8 times and then do it right.
Yes.
Tell me what's right, and I'll tell you what's wrong, if anything.
What have been, I mean, you've been on so many projects, done so many characters. What have been some characters you've come up with where you thought, wow, where did that come from?
There's one in Tailspin called the Wildcat, and he's the ignorant but lovable mountain lion. Baloo is a rancho banana. I forgot. Oh, look, there's a new item on the map. No, it's guacamole. You know, I didn't know where I knew it was naive, but I didn't know where that naivete came from. They wanted the character dumb. I thought, no, I'll make him naive. Mm-hmm. Well, 20 years later, I got a call from a psychologist saying, I have a student that has some difficulties, but she loves Wildcat. Can she call you? I'm like, yeah. Turns out she was autistic. Aww. And she would love coming home watching a character that was special, according to her, loved by everyone else. And I figured it out. When I was a kid, I was around the deaf people a lot because my grandfather taught the deaf and blind. And they dealt with that tone and naive a lot of times and very exaggerated. Well, that's where this came from. Well, if Disney knew that, I would never have been hired. So that was a challenge and a delight to find out, oh, so that's where I got that.
That's wonderful.
Then there was a character, Huck Finn, I did for the audio book, unabridged, 93 characters, 34 dialects.
What?
And that was, that challenged me beyond, you think it's right in the briar bushes, all those characters. Listen, I looked at a note once about a one-line woman. It had her line, hang him now. And the note I'd put was George Bush, only a girl. I probably had Nixon as I'm freeborn, I'm a slave. I have no idea. But that was wonderful, a delight to do. And after you do that, you go, what else do I do?
Right. Exactly.
And that's where I got, unfortunately. Well, not unfortunately, but that was my journey. I thought, well, I'll do a couple more, but they were like, compared to that genius,
Do you have advice for people that want to create new characters? Maybe do they start actually writing and describing the character? I mean, how would you go about creating something?
Fun, playing, doing bad impressions. Doesn't matter if they're bad or not. Mm-hmm. If you do somebody, everyone needs a inspiration. Now, Phil Lamar, he takes it from people he's known. Fred Tatasciore takes it from movies and stuff and mixes stuff. He did a pirate the other day for me, and he did Charles Lawton as a pirate.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was amazing. But you just sort of have car wrecks and play around with voices. Then you get to developing them. Because if you get a character you like it, evocative. Unique is not doing what other people have done. Yeah. Like Janeane, would you like to hear my Daffy Duck? It's really good. Say, hiya. Well, there's one other guy that's doing it. Right. And it was Mel Blanc. Mm-hmm. Unique work is your own. So evocative, unique, develop. That's the acting. That's where you get them so they sound like they're thinking and feeling on their own, no matter how big they are.
Yes, definitely.
Now, big or bold, don't do what I did. I always thought that was loud.
Oh.
No, you can be bold and you can be very quiet. I'm at it graffiti now. Look, I don't want to shoot you in the kneecap, but I will. Right? He doesn't even laugh. He's pre-laugh. But it's evocative and unique and developed.
I like that.
Yeah.
Any other advice you'd give people right now that are in the entertainment industry? Things they could do? Any other advice?
Don't do anything. My boy who called before we got on my phone, Ford, He calls me every day, and the challenge is, what did you do today that was so ridiculous you can't tell anyone else? And I think I came up with being in bed watching DVDs of Paladin from 1958. I've got all 230. And Brad Garrett, my comedian buddy, he always kids me because he said, I made a joke of, I think I'm going to watch the complete works of Ma and Pa Kettle. And he laughed, and I shot him a picture of the DVD box.
Oh, you did?
He was shocked. It's been a laugh ever since. Well, you know what? Don't do anything.
Yeah.
Because you know what it's like. When you don't do anything, you get ideas.
You do. You do.
You go, whoa, I could do Eddie Graffiti, except not New York, and he would be funny. You know, you get ideas.
Right.
And not stressed, because we're all this way. And you can always think of somebody that's got it worse.
I was going to say, I've thought of some of my best ideas while just taking a walk in the morning.
Right. Or less valuable. Being in bed.
Sitting on the ground eating Twinkies.
Yes, having a drink. You know, and understand, you know, like all old people, well, they've had lives. I don't want to die, but I don't care if I die. If I die, I die, right? I'm not going to worry about it. But what about having a baby? You can't have your husband there. You can't, you know, it's like go back to the 40s. Yeah. It's a boy. Oh, good. Have a cigar. You know.
Exactly.
There's so many people that are challenged beyond what we are because we're used to being at home. My whole life has been in a studio or home. So what's the difference?
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
But keep positive about what you do. And if you don't have anything, get better, because that'll help you get positive.
Yes.
And I'll never ask a person that doesn't like your work if they like it or doesn't like you. Good. Don't bother, because you know, there's some producers that never hired me because they didn't dig my style. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. But others did. They loved it. So you always say, what do you think of this voice? It's someone that kind of likes what you do. Mm-hmm. And you'll be reinforced.
Yeah. And I think be around other actors that are supportive, you know?
Yeah, it's tough to find that, though.
It is.
Because, you know, here's my quote. Actors are babies. Writers are axe murderers.
Okay, then.
And you being a writer and an actor, you understand.
Yes. Well, I'm a baby axe murderer. Thanks, Pat.
I thought of you acting and writing in the middle of that, and you should have seen your face. It was sort of blanched. Yeah, really. Anyway, get around people. I like to get around people that aren't actors because they go, I don't know, it's too, yeah. That's what my wife says. Well, you're, and I have to go, what do you mean by that? I go, okay, right.
She nailed it.
Yeah, right. I just like to be around people that like to see me perform because they're closer to an audience.
Yes.
Because an actor, here's another actor, inside their mind, they're going, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if he's getting paid.
It's true. It's true.
And writers going to other writers, oh, you know. It can be dismaying unless they love your work.
I agree. So it sounds like you've handled quarantine really well. You're used to being home. Okay, maybe not.
Well, I hesitate because everyone's having a tough time.
Oh, yeah.
My joke is I've gone from I can't complain to I won't complain. Yeah. I mean, I'm in LA. My wife, who I met 50 years ago, over 50 years ago, she's in Palm Desert.
Oh.
Because she has an autoimmune disorder, has a transplant kidney. And if I go near her, I could kill her.
Right.
So my boys are all over the place. And so we're having to deal with being alone. The good news is maybe we needed to. I'm getting some stuff that I didn't think I would, you know, besides the fact of that wall socket needs to be cleaned, which is insane. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting some insight and thoughts that I wouldn't have. Now, we're thinking too much. That's for sure. Too much time to think.
Well, sure.
But I'm getting some insight into my life and where it's been and where it's gone. And we can only be now. We can't be past or future. We can only really be now. And that's what we're doing. That's why I can laugh spontaneously looking at you, because I'm not thinking about the past or the future.
Yeah. Do you think this is a time to really dial into who you are and be humble?
No, I think, well, humble is always good. Gratitude is so important. And so is ingratitude to whom or what?
Sure.
Personally, I'm grateful to God. I'm a Christian guy, and I'm a PG rated guy. But other people, gratitude is very important. And
Yeah.
humble is very important, because you'll start thinking, well, that guy, man, I'll say, I've been in this business. It always starts that way, doesn't it? For 32 years. How dare you? Well, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Grateful is important. And not thinking and delving too far into why you do what you do. That kind of introspection is dangerous.
Yes. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Give me your website one more time for people that want to find you.
It's patfraley.com. It's
right.
well, they have my name up there, PATFRALEY.
Yes, you are up there.
And just go there and go to contacts if you want to call me or
Okay.
email me, or home study courses. Also, I have this huge amount of free lessons.
Oh, good.
About 50 of them.
Okay.
Short. And so you click on free and you get these SoundCloud, about 50 of them. And then there's other ones that are listed in their video that come from YouTube and stuff. Oh, yeah. Because we're performers. The reason why I'm not having too much of a difficulty is because I go from 1,000 to 1% on a budget. I've been broke before.
Yeah.
I know how not to spend money. And I'm always looking as a performer how to save a performer money.
That's good. You have to.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
We're not making any.
No, it's the nature of the business.
Yes, it's not quite as bad as real estate.
No.
or one of my sons who's a fine artist. And so he works for months and then he sells a painting for $25,000. But then none.
Then nothing.
No,
yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I know. Well, I want to thank you so much. I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Janeane, anytime.
This has been wonderful.
I'll be off the AI thing, it's just bugging me.
It's all right. It's okay. I'm glad you were able to chat about it. It was very informative, actually.
It is, because we've missed it.
Yeah.
And they're working along. Why? Because they're home doing nothing. And so they're creating stuff and advancing what they do beyond what they normally would do.
Sure. Yeah. But it's never going to replace a human voice. That's for sure.
If you're buying, it will.
Well, if you're buying, but it depends what you want. It's like you get what you pay for.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, what do they need? You remember those movies in the 50s where they'd show strike and unfair signs? And they always looked too well done.
Okay.
That's because they had a union, a skill union, and they had to hire people that painted. Now they don't, so it looks better. So I don't know. I know that the voice that sells, Danny Dark and Ernie Henderson, all those voices went the way of the weenie during the strike because people got used to normal voices.
Yes.
And they went, wow, I like that better. Well, that's not really comparing directly to AI.
That's true.
But I think the people in charge, I do know, are bean counters. They're about money. They're about making somebody more money.
Right.
And not us.
Not us. Yeah.
So, in a sense, when I started cartoon work and did so much, I used to think, this is the best radio show ever. Why? Because I've seen the animation and it stinks.
Mm-hmm.
This is the early 80s. It was like a puppet show, Scooby-Doo,
Yeah.
Well, it was overkill. It always has been,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. But I think animation's okay now. Video games is okay now. Some commercials, all audiobook work.
Yeah. ACX.
Right. Well, if you have to, if you don't go directly to a publisher.
That's true.
If you're excellent, you go to a publisher, they go, whoa.
If you're lucky.
Luck, I don't believe in luck.
All right, skilled.
Skill and beyond excellent, you get their attention.
That's true.
Because without getting your attention, you can be skillful and still be like us, alone in a room.
Yes, very true. All right, Pat, thank you so much.
My pleasure, always.